Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Ibnu Annas with my student ID is 332220164. And today I'm gonna present it to you all about my syntax final term test. So what I'm going to explain in my presentation today is about surface structure and deep structure. And the last one we'll talk about and we'll analyze about the tree diagram from each sentence. There are 5 sentences that I've already drawn the tree diagrams of it. So let's get it started. So this is my kind of explanation that I will present it to you today. For the first part one is deep structure and surface structures, and the part two is solving the problem using the tree diagrams and explain the deep structures of each tree diagram. Okay, so for the first one, introduction. These two concepts for the surface structure and deep structures help us to understand how sentences are formed, both in the structures or maybe in the meaning. So this kind of theory I've got from the Noam Chomsky in the 1965 from his book, The Aspect Theory of Syntax. So our objective today is about to explain the concept surface structure and deep structure, and the key question of it about what is surface structure, what is deep structure, and how do they interact in a sentence formation. So the first one, we're gonna talk about the surface structure first. Surface structure is actually a sentence that actually always we speak or write. It shows the linear or in the kind of order of words. So surface structure, both the linear order of the constituents, which is obvious from inspection, and their hierarchical order. It's from the syntax slides material, meeting 11. And the second one is deep structure. Consequently, deep structure, each sentence have their underlying structure that cannot determine with its semantic interpretation, but must be specified by the syntactic component of a grammar. From Noam Chomsky, 1965. So for the surface structure, also show the hierarchical structure, but it's not about how it's become the visible. But in this deep structure, it gives us an actual meaning of a sentence. Okay, for surface structure, let me give you from the example in the slide. Fred wanted to win. It's a surface formation. This is a surface structure. It shows an hierarchical structure, like which part of the sentence of the subject is, which is the verb, etc. So the definition of it is the linear and hierarchical arrangement of words as they are spoken or written. It features reflects the actual order of words and contains a relationship using underline like subject with verb and with the object. Next one is deep structure. Let's go to the example. Alex didn't win a prize. But for the actually, if we change the sentence Alex didn't win a prize into a surface structure, it could be Alex didn't win. Just like that. The deep structures includes the full meaning that we apply from what any shortening of the formation. So with the definition of it is about the underlying structure that determines its semantic interpretation. It features about the represent the core semantic relationship transformed into the surface structure via syntactic operation. And so, about my explanation about the surface structure and deep structure. And next, we're going to talk about the how do they interact in the sentence formation. For the deep structure, an abstract meaning of a sentence undergoes the transformation to become a surface structure or the actual sentence, the actual meaning. So the deep structures, like the example, Mary won a prize, but Alex didn't win a prize. For most of it, it contains all logical parts, even if not all the spoken. But in the transformation rule applied, equi-MP relation, the repeated word phrase like win a prize it can be deleted in the second clause So to change the deep structure into the surface structure will become like Mary won a prize, but Alex didn't. So we delete the win a prize to become a surface structure from the deep structure. It getting shorter, but the sentence, the meaning of the sentence remain the same. So I think that's all from my kind of explanation. I'll give you more visible about the deep structures. So the deep structures is like the raw idea in our mind, and the surface structure is how we say that idea out loud. So the kind of process from the deep structure and the surface structure use a transformation rules. So for my conclusion about this kind of material about the deep structure and surface structure is that surface structure is a visible sentence form. What I'm trying to say is that surface structure is what we say and what we see or what we write. But the deep structure is a hidden meaning in a sentence formation. What we mean before we change the sentence. So the kind of transformation bridge the two level. This kind of syntax system between the surface structure and deep structure connects through the transformation, like bridge the two level. So this is what makes our sentence to become grammatically in kind of order grammatically correct and lots of meaning. So that's the end of the first part. So let's head into the second part. For the second part, I'm gonna solve all the problem and explain this case using the tree diagram, and also explain the deep structure for each sentence from number 1 until number 5. So I've already wrote the three diagrams about the sentence number 1. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So in this kind of tree diagram, the sentence is divided into NP and VP. But the noun phrase is contain the determiner, adjective, another adjective, and noun. This noun phrase contains the subject fox, the quick brown fox. It means that the brown fox is really fast, really quick. And in the verb phrase, it contains subject, lazy dog, the lazy dog. So the kind of deep structure in here is that this kind of action or jumps performed by the fox, by the quick brown fox. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So and the location of the jump is over the lazy dog from its own lazy dog. And it shows a full idea about who does the action, what kind of action that, and where it takes the place. Next one, the girl who is wearing a red dress is dancing. Uh, for my opinion, this kind of sentence shows a complex subject, like the girl, like it modified with a relative clause with who is wearing a red dress. But the main verb is dancing. So the kind of deep structure that revealed in this kind of sentence, it contains two ideas like the girl is dancing and the girl is wearing a red dress. So this kind of three diagrams show it with a relative clause to describe the girl, like the girl wearing a red dress and the girl is doing a dancing. And the third one is Stefano saw the Yeheskela with the telescope. Like before, number 2, so this sentence, number 3, is really ambiguous, have a complex subject too. With the prepositional phrase telescope, it can describe the Yeheskela or maybe the Stefano itself. But in this kind of tree diagram shows two possible meanings. Stefano used the telescope to see Yeheskela, or Yeheskela had the telescope itself. But to explain the deep structure of it, this kind depends on which non phrase, like with the telescope modifieds. So that's why we need to diagrams and clarify the meaning. But uh, for most of it, Stefano show you a skill with telescope is kind of depends on which the noun phrase modified. And the number four is the sentence is the she believes that the earth is round. This sentence have a relative clause too, but the main clause is she believes, and the second clause about the that the earth is round. So the meaning of the deep structure is the full meaning of the deep structure is she already believes, she has the belief that the earth is really round, that the earth is always round. And in the verb beliefs, it takes an entire sentence as its objects. And the last one, number five, the house where I grew up has been demolished. The subject is I, the house where I grew up. And it includes another relative clause too about where I grew up to describe the house. And the main verb is has been demolished. Has been the verb is. So what the deep structure trying to say is about it have two events that combine. So the first one is I grew up in that house, but the house has been demolished. So this kind of deep structure or this diagram is merged using a relative clause to give us a complete meaning. So for the first part and the second part, here's my kind of reference. The only one journal that the book or to become my reference is about Chomsky, 1965 aspect of the theory of syntax from the Cambridge MIT Press. And last but not least is about the material from my lecture. BS is syntax slide meeting 11. So I think that's all my kind of explanation about the part one, surface structure and deep structure. And the second part about explain the tree diagrams, explain five sentences using tree diagrams and explain about the deep structure of each sentence. I hope that my presentation could help you to understand and realize about the difference between surface structure and deep structure and my simple explanation about the tree diagram using a deep structure explanation. I hope that my presentation and my explanation was clear to you all. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.